If the voice speaking in your mind right now is you, then who is the one hearing it? The truth is this: there is no one in your brain. Neuroscience tells us that inside the brain, there is no such thing as a self. That you feel like, the one that feels like yourself, is not actually located anywhere. There is no little man inside your head, and there is no CEO sitting there making decisions. What neuroscientists found in the brain instead was something else, a kind of emptiness, a beautiful, mysterious emptiness, a space where your thoughts, emotions, and sensations arise and then disappear. This is like trying to find the leader in an improvised jazz session. There is no central conductor. There is only the dance of interactions. In decades-long split brain experiments at Princeton University, Michael Gazzaniga discovered this: the left hemisphere of the brain instantly invents reasons for actions performed by the right hemisphere without seeing those actions. A command was given to a patient's right brain: walk. The patient stood up. The left brain did not know this. When asked, "Why did you stand up?" the patient said, "I was going to get some water." He was not lying. He genuinely believed it. This is the brain's real function: constantly telling stories, finding meaning, and creating a coherent illusion of a self. We call this mechanism the inner interpreter. This is exactly the most important mistake people make during meditation. The vast majority of people who hear this explanation say that it fundamentally changes their understanding of the observer. The main reason confusion arises is that we mistake the inner interpreter for the observer. To separate these two, let us now examine more closely how each one works. The inner interpreter has three modes: narrator mode, critic mode, and hype mode. It observes all our actions and thoughts and comments on them. During meditation, it is the voice telling you, "You're doing well," or "You're doing badly." It is the one that criticizes you, and it is also the one that comes in to calm and comfort you. It is obsessed with defining you, but the definitions it creates are as temporary and inconsistent as the thoughts that feed it. The reason it is so easy to confuse it with the observer self is this: the inner interpreter also feels like a separate, calm presence that does not directly interfere with your daily life. It is a distant voice, one that always has something to say. So here's the real question: if the inner narrator is not you, then who or what is aware of it? In the 1990s, at the University of Wisconsin, Richard Davidson scanned the brains of Tibetan Buddhist monks. These were people who had meditated for over 40,000 hours. In their brains, the default mode network, the network that creates the sense of I, was almost completely silent. But their consciousness was not gone. On the contrary, they were in a state of heightened awareness, characterized by intense gamma waves. It was possible to be fully conscious even without a sense of I. This state of awareness is what we call the observer. The observer does not speak. It watches thoughts without joining them. It records emotions without identifying with them. And it never changes. Try this. Recall a memory from your childhood. The awareness that watches that memory is the same awareness that watches you listening to these words right now. Your body has changed. Your personality has changed. Every cell in you has been renewed. But that sense of watching has never changed. The observer is always silent. It observes without judgment. It does not think, it simply observes. It takes in all information, but it never reacts. It sees the inner narrator as well, but it does not intervene, because it does not need to. It already knows that none of them can define it. If you sit with the observer long enough, during deep meditation, or in a moment of complete stillness, you start to notice something extraordinary. The observer does not even belong to you. The awareness that watches your thoughts is the same awareness that watches mine, the same that watches a neighbor, a monk meditating in a cave in the Himalayas, or a man lost in thought on the Tokyo subway. What changes is the content, thoughts, emotions, experiences, but the field that witnesses all of it is the same, untouched, universal. The inner narrator is a deeply rooted, autonomous algorithm shaped by neuroplasticity. And you did not write this algorithm, but you believe it is you. Antonio Damasio, in his book Descartes' Error, studied patients with damage to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. These people became incapable of making decisions because their emotional evaluation system had collapsed. Even that inner voice that seems logical is based on emotion. When you strip away the noise, you realize this: the person you argue with, or the one you love, is essentially enlivened by the same awareness that animates you. The inner narrator is rooted in the mind. It is shaped by conditioning, upbringing, society, fears, desires, and insecurities. It is a product of your past. It constantly recycles old patterns and projects them into the present and the future. The more refined the patterns you develop in your mind, the softer and more polished the inner narrator becomes. But if you want to truly know the observer, you have to look elsewhere. Look for it in the timeless. It is not tangled in your past, nor does it worry about your future. It exists purely in the present moment. The inner narrator speaks. The observer listens. The inner narrator analyzes. The observer simply is. The Bhagavad Gita tells us, "You are the eternal witness." Eckhart Tolle calls it conscious presence. Your skeptical mind may roll its eyes, but the more you tune into the observer, the more you realize how meaningful it truly is. The observer is the only part of you that never changes. Think about it. Everything about you has changed over time. Your personality, your body, what you love and what you dislike, even your identity. 10 years ago, in every measurable way, you were a completely different person. But the observer is the same. The you that noticed the world at age 5 is the same you that is noticing it now. This means something important. Within you, there is a part untouched by time, unaffected by trauma, unharmed by any story your mind tells. This is not a mental trick. This is very deep. It is the same awareness that witnessed the birth of the universe, the same stillness reflected in the silence of the stars. You have been here from the very beginning. The observer is not a modern mindfulness concept. It is ancient. It has been examined by some of the greatest thinkers in history. Heavyweights like Einstein, quantum physicists, and ancient mystics all point to the same thing. The roots of the idea of the observer go back to the Upanishads, among the oldest spiritual texts. There, Atman, the eternal self, is described as the silent witness of all experience. The same idea echoes in Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius advises observing your mind as if it were outside of you, calmly noting thoughts without attachment. Your sense of self is a story your mind keeps writing and rewriting. It stitches memories and experiences together like an overworked novelist. Part of the genius of the human mind is this: it can step back from life and respond to it, become aware of its own existence, and critique its own processes. This is because the mind has something like a feedback system. That is a term used in communication engineering and one of the core principles of automation. Feedback allows a machine to learn the effects of its own actions and adjust itself accordingly. Some people always need to be the center of attention. Thoughts do the same thing. When you begin to identify as the observer, you notice that your thoughts are like background noise in a cafe. Make the observer your default mode. The steps are simple. The more often you notice the observer at work, the more natural it becomes. It's like learning to ride a bicycle or learning to use a self-checkout without panicking. The more you do it, the less effort it requires. Sitting quietly for long periods is not unnatural at all. Cats do it, dogs do it, and even more anxious animals do it. So-called primitive village societies do it in almost every country. This art is hardest for people whose sensitivity and intelligence have been pushed to a point where they cannot stop predicting the future, and therefore must be kept in a world of constant activity. Yet it seems that someone who cannot sit with a fully rested mind and simply observe cannot fully experience the world they live in. Human beings do not know the world only by thinking about it or by doing things to it. First, they must experience it more directly and allow that experience to unfold without rushing to conclusions. To reach the observer, one arrives at a place that is not the mind. Mindlessness does not mean shutting the mind down completely. It means using the whole mind, the way we do when our eyes rest on objects without making any special effort. The observer is not a mystical entity accessible only to long-haired meditators. In Buddhism, the four basic human activities, walking, standing, sitting, and lying down, are called the four dignities, because these are the postures the Buddha nature takes within the human body. Without thinking about tomorrow, you should attend only to today and to this hour. People are afraid of forgetting their minds. They fear falling into emptiness with nothing to hold on to. But they do not realize that this emptiness is not emptiness at all. It is the true domain of the divine. It cannot be grasped through wisdom or knowledge. It cannot be explained in words. It cannot be touched materially or reached through virtuous achievements. But surrendering to this apparent abyss is awakening. It is merging with the infinite and realizing that you were never separate from it to begin with. Emptiness is not nothingness. It is the womb of everything, the source from which thought, form, and time itself arise. Now try it. Close your eyes. Breathe. Watch thoughts come and go. Who is watching? That unchanging, silent, eternal is the real you. And it has always been you. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for upcoming videos, each one designed to expand your mind, deepen your awareness, and take you one step further on your journey of consciousness.